Welcome back, everyone, to the Tech Informist podcast, episode 192. This is Kevin.
And Brad.
And we have plenty of fun things to talk about. But you know what? We're just really going to just dive in.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's not have time for chitty chit-chat.
Yeah, we've done plenty of that already.
Yeah. But speaking of chatting, apparently some of the Google Home Mini review units that have been going out to different reviewers, we're listening to them chit-chat like 24/7. And that's kind of a problem.
Yeah, it sounded like... So most of the Google Home stuff has that kind of touch-sensitive, like... It looks like it's just a normal plain Jane, either speaker or plastic piece, but it's actually like a touch sensitive, so you can like adjust volume and things like that. There was some kind of like mix up or a software issue where it was just always listening.
It went rogue.
Pretty much.
As they like to say.
Skynet.
Yeah, and the only way that you could tell that it was listening is if you just happened to be looking at it and seeing the 4 lights there on top just flashing. That means it's actively listening.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently this tech reporter's unit was constantly listening. And it wasn't the fact that Google wanted him to send it back. Google actually sent people out to get it, to pick it up from him.
Oopsie!
Yeah. I was like, that's pretty serious stuff.
I have noticed, and I don't exactly know what does this to my... I don't want to say the word home device. Mm-hmm. It has this light that'll come on. It's just that kind of like bluish white light. And it just kind of like has that breathing effect. And I don't know exactly what it's doing when it does that. And it'll do that for an extended period of time. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you're doing.
What are you capturing?
So then I go and I unplug it, wait 30 seconds, plug it back in. It goes through its startup mode and then it stops. So I don't know what that is. Maybe it is listening to me. Maybe it's listening to me talk endlessly about Destiny or something.
It could be. There's really no telling. So I believe Google released kind of an update to help disable some portions of the software. And it's supposed to do something like with a touch function. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of dangerous, and obviously, you know, people that are always really highly concerned about privacy.
Yeah. I don't know if it's necessarily dangerous more so as it is like invasion of privacy in some regards. I mean, you did in a way plug it in, therefore kind of sign the agreement for it, I guess. But it's such a like weird fuzzy line that we're all still figuring out because it's such new technology. Mm-hmm. And I just think we need to be aware of those things, especially when something like this happens, so that we can say, hey, come on, that's not right. And they fix it, which clearly they're working on doing. I'm not really creeped out by them.
No, and it's good that they can just release software updates. So again, this is prime reason to why you need to make sure that your applications are updated and your devices are updated.
Yeah. Well, and as creepy as Google can be, I think I trust them with my data more than I trust the government. So
definitely more than Equifax and companies like that.
Yeah,
Yahoo
exactly.
And stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, the big three, I guess you could call them, almost like this is a car podcast now, but the big three tech giants, Microsoft, Google, and Apple, obviously. I would trust them with my data more than most places on Earth. Mm-hmm. So I'm not super worried, but I'm glad, again, that they are taking initiative to fix it. This obviously wasn't supposed to be a thing, and like you said, they sent people to this guy's house, so it was a serious deal. They don't want that like becoming, they don't want their speakers to be known for doing that.
Right.
Because especially then nobody wants them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a new device, and of course they want to sell a whole bunch of them. I mean, $50 doesn't make me not want to go to the event coming up in November.
I mean,
it's on my calendar.
I still have mine plugged in.
Mm-hmm.
I tell it to turn on NPR when I leave, so my cat gets smarter. No, it's just so he has like voices in the background.
He's got friends with him at all times. No, just definitely make sure that you've got your devices and your applications software updated. That's the biggest thing to recommend, whether it's an Amazon Echo, Google Home Mini, Macs, or even Apple's upcoming HomePod.
Yeah.
And anything else that Microsoft, whenever they start releasing all those Cortana devices, I mean, there's a whole bunch of different manufacturers, I think, on board with their
I know. I can't wait to, like, get something in the store or, like, even, you know, get something to play with. Because when I did use Cortana a lot on my Windows Phone, of course, this was a little before, like, the craze happened, but it worked so good, and I loved it. I hope that here coming up in the future that it works with other... I kind of hope they all talk to each other so you can just pick your flavor. Like, that's just me, though.
Cortana works really good to me on my Windows partition when I boot into it.
Works very well on Windows 10.
For opening up Word and just opening up applications and stuff. I like it. I think it works really good.
I have some complaints on Xbox, but we'll leave those for another day.
Yeah, that was one thing I have noticed with the Kinect. It just...
I don't know why. Yeah. Doesn't have... Maybe it's just the microphones being that far away or something? No, because when I use my headset to talk, to use it, I'll just be playing a game and it'll think I have said something, and... I don't know. I just... there's some work to be done. I'm not criticizing. Again, I love both of those things, obviously. But yeah, we'll see.
And I guess just while you just recently mentioned Windows Mobile and Windows Phone and stuff like that, earlier this week, Microsoft's Joe Belfiore said that Windows 10 mobile features and hardware are no longer a focus.
I mean, we kind of knew this was coming. It was just like, it was interesting to hear it from like a more high level
ranking.
Yeah, exactly. Especially Joe Belfiore. I mean, he was known for the Windows stuff, especially the phone. It makes sense. You know, he went on his big hiatus, not hiatus.
Trip around the world.
Yeah.
Soul searching,
sabbatical.
family searching, whatever, and stuff like that.
Yeah, he went on his sabbatical. You know, we were already thinking about taking that huge write-off at the time, I think. And then it just kind of all hit, and it's just been, you know, news story after news story. Windows Phone's dead. Now it's dead. Now it's dead. It's like, no, it's been dead since we took the write-off. Like, that's kind of how that works. We already knew we were going to lose money. This is why most people didn't want to buy Nokia. But, I mean, the writing's on the wall. It's all been done in the past. There's Hakuna Matata, you know, we can't.
Yeah. So they're still going to release bug fixes, security updates, etc. Because obviously there's enterprise devices out there because enterprise bought into it.
Right.
But no new hardware is expected. Now, it doesn't mean in 2 years they won't bring it back, but...
I just don't see it happening. You know?
I don't either. Because, again, Satya Nadella, Microsoft, services. It's all about software as a service.
Yep. And honestly, that's probably where I would imagine we make most of our money.
You've now got the Edge browser on your LG G6?
Yeah, just downloaded that last night, so I got to play with it a little more. Obviously, I have all my favorites and things that I normally would do with it on it, so that's pretty cool.
Microsoft Launcher is like official.
I need to pull out...
I want to say it's out of beta now.
Oh yeah, it's no longer beta. It's an official app now. I need to pull out my G5 and mess around with that. I just don't want to, you know, do it on my device
primary daily.
Yeah, I don't like doing that. I know some people love that.
But then again, I mean, if you did put it on your primary device, you'd at least get the full experience of getting a chance to use it on regular daily basis.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure, you know, it's easy to switch back and forth between launchers. It's just...
it's real easy. You don't.
I get particular, and it's like, what if that one thing gets messed up and I gotta spend a half an hour fixing it? Because I'm so anal about like, this icon has to be here and this has to be here. Yeah. But yeah, I still need to take a look at it. But I do have Edge on my device as well.
Yeah. But I mean, Joe Belfiore put out a whole bunch of tweets back on the 8th and just talking about how that they did try to incentivize app developers to develop for the platform. They paid them money, they wrote apps for them, but...
Well, and see, that's the biggest misconception when most people are like, oh, you guys just never tried with Windows Phone. It's like, yes, we did. Yeah. We tried. Developers weren't interested. They wanted to write for Android and iOS, and by the time we kind of made it easier, it was already too late. It's how the dice fell.
Yeah, it is. And somebody actually in the comment section on the Windows Central post did say that, well, it could be one of the more secure platforms if you were still wanting to use Windows Mobile,
This is
because
true.
it's going to have a much smaller target for people wanting to put out spyware or just little hacks.
In
and
the
stuff
same
like
way
that.
that Mac at the turn of the century was probably one of the safer ones because there weren't as many out there. They would rather target Windows devices because there were infinitely more. So, which now, not the tides have shifted, but it's much different now.
It's a more even playing field.
Yeah, definitely.
For the most part, obviously, enterprise is more still Windows based, but a lot of consumers have jumped to the Mac platform.
And then I have some coming back in. Like, I've had Mac for a little while. I kind of want to go back to Windows. So it's just a full circle kind of thing.
It's a fast operating system from my experience.
Just a quick side note. I was messing with Windows 7 the other day on a customer's device.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my God. I love Windows 10. I can't. I just can't with 7 anymore. Please, for the love of God, upgrade to 10 if you haven't. It is so much faster and user-friendly even. Finding things on 7, it was like pulling teeth because it's been so long. At this point, I mean, I think I used 8 more than I used 7, which, yes, go ahead and cringe at that for those of you who hated it. I loved it.
I had no problems with 8.
Yeah. I specifically built a computer so I could run 8 because my laptop at the time definitely was not going to be able to. But anyway, we'll move on.
Moving on. Nintendo recently applied for a new trademark for the Game Boy. Now, we're presuming this is going to be like a Game Boy Classic. Now, this is the original, fatty Game Boy from 1989. So, what does that mean? So, it means in a little over a year, we're on the 30th anniversary of the Game Boy.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can imagine maybe the 29 Classic release will be a Game Boy, whereas 2018 might still be a Nintendo 64. Yeah.
Ooh, that one. One excites me.
The Nintendo 64 is going to be a challenge to do. One, because for
The
controller
controller.
ports.
Well, plus the big ass honking controller.
Yeah.
Compared to the skinnier versions, it's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm. But I think this is kind of neat. I mean, I've still got my original Game Boy that I got. I presume it was in 1989. Probably Christmas of 89 when I got it. So I still got that. I've got my battery pack. I've still got a case.
Oh my God, the battery pack. I forgot about that.
That thing still works like a champ, too.
So I never had the original gray, but I had like a special, maybe in quotation, special edition, like a red version that was the exact red that they used for the Pokemon Red.
Oh.
So obviously
pretty
I
nice
had to get the Pokemon Red to match the Game Boy, so you slap it in. But anyway, that aside, that big original Game Boy.
Do you still have that one?
Nope. It's one of those things like, oh, I don't need this anymore. Yeah. Well, obviously, I've sort of learned my lesson now. Like, I still have my Gears of War 360, my new Gears of War Xbox One. I mean, I just got my original Nintendo 64 back, so I need to figure out if it's the cord or the port, why it's not working correctly. But anyway, that aside, I'm slowly learning that, hey, maybe I should hold on to some of these.
Exactly. So I'm kind of presuming that with the size of the Game Boy and, keeping up with that screen, they would probably just keep it the same size and just...
Oh, easily. And it would be lighter, too, I bet. Do you think they'll go with like a rechargeable battery kind of thing?
I would think so.
At this point, yeah.
I mean, in this day and age, why not?
Also, with the screen, I wonder, are they going to make it...
I hope it is backlit.
Backlit, number one.
Really do.
Number two, will you be able to on the Game Boy Color where you could hold down the buttons and make it change, or maybe it was the Advanced, Game Boy Advance maybe, where you could hold down the buttons and you could change the background from color to just like that kind of green screen wash that they had
I don't know.
for the original. That would be cool if you could, kind of cycle through some of those, because Game Boy Color had more of like a whitish gray background with a little bit of color in it if you were to pop an original Game Boy in.
I would imagine with this, based on what they've done with the NES and Super Nintendo Classic, that you have different, CRT filter 4.3.
Oh, yeah.
Pixel perfect.
So then that would make sense for them to do.
They could kind of do that with, hey, do you want it in the original grayscale green kind of dot matrix display? Or do you want to have it with a backlight, or do you want to do it like this? Or I think that would be easy for them to do.
Yeah, and
throw in 50 games and away you go.
Price wise, like, what do you think? What are you thinking?
I think a lot of it depends on how many
games
they put on there.
No less than 30, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would.
Especially on a Game Boy. Obviously, the Pokemon games. Obviously, anything in dealing with Zelda, Metroid, or Mario. But beyond that, I'm not sure.
Donkey Kong's, Castlevania's.
True. Yeah, true.
I don't know if they could do a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. The Metroids, obviously. I could probably see this running about the $80 just because of the cost.
To make it a pocket-sized device, rechargeable battery, screen, backlit, games, maybe 80. I'm thinking more closer to the 60 range, that kind of impulse purchase, if you will.
Yeah, that's possible. I'd buy it. I mean, I think it would look great next to my original Game Boy.
Yep.
That's just me. I'm just all about these Nintendo Classic devices, so
especially when it's official, right?
Exactly. And I know a lot of people are like, well, why don't you just build a Raspberry Pi? And I'm like, I don't want a Raspberry Pi. I want official hardware.
Yeah, for some people, that's not the point. I get why. Like, I'm actually considering doing a Raspberry Pi and doing HDMI and having a guy at work that we work with. He does a really good job with them. And then maybe buying a 3D printed case of like one of my favorite consoles or something and stuff it in there, and there I go, I've got a gaming system, something like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I love the official molds that they used for the NES Classic, the Super Nintendo Classic. That looks so much better than the great majority of stuff that's out there. I don't want just a simple plain box. I've seen some really neat 3D printed stuff.
Yeah. But, of course, when you 3D print stuff, it leaves those little ridges in there because obviously it has to lay material upon material. But if you take a little time, you kind of fill those in with, like, primer and paint and stuff, you can actually make them look pretty good.
Yeah, if you want to, like, sand it down and stuff like that. If you really want to put time in it, you can make it look real good. Or if you've got a really fancy, expensive, fine printing...
Oh, sure.
Then, yeah. But not everybody has that.
Yeah, true.
So, speaking of the Super Nintendo Classic, it's been hacked, as we've kind of reported earlier. And now Hack-Chi 2, the software used to be able to hack the NES Classic and add games for pretty much whatever system you want, has now been officially updated to work with the Super Nintendo Classic.
Now we just need to figure out how many games can fit on there.
Right, because again, you're still dealing with 200 to 300 megabytes of storage, so you can't fit the entire Super Nintendo Classic library on it.
Such a bummer.
But you can add your favorites that you feel were left off, and have plenty of room.
Yeah, definitely.
I have not messed with it just yet because time.
Sure,
but I don't see why I wouldn't do that in my European version of the
which looks awesome, by the way.
Yes, that Super Nintendo Classic did arrive.
Did it come with a European plug?
It didn't come with the power plug at all. It just comes with the cable, USB.
The
cable.
USB. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. That makes sense.
So it doesn't come with a power plug. It comes with the two controllers with the nice colored buttons, and I feel it's better. Just I feel it's like constructed better. It feels more solid.
Well, in my opinion, the Super Famicom has always been better than the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
A lot of people have a lot of nice fuzzy memories about the Super Nintendo. Oh, the blue or the purple and if you see the Super Famicom, you'll know why it's.
Oh yeah,
it looks more Nintendo than the Super Nintendo. And I know, I think they even talk about in Console Wars kind of the reasoning behind the color change versus why not, but
yeah. Again, I just finished Console Wars again a couple days ago. Man, it is just so damn good.
I'll have some extra time on a plane. I'll be playing some Metroid, and I'll hopefully be listening to some Console Wars and trying to finish that up finally.
Yeah. God, it is just such a good book.
It is. Really, really. If you're into games at all, I just can't recommend it enough. It's so good.
Nope. Speaking of traveling, you're getting ready to head west.
Indeed.
Next week. T-Mobile is getting rid of the unlimited LTE roaming for United States customers that travel to Mexico and Canada on November 12th.
Yeah, obviously here in the Midwest, that doesn't affect us too much, but I could definitely see how people on the borders that could be
travel, to Mexico and Canada on a regular basis for business or whatever it is.
Yep.
So you're not going to not be able to use LTE roaming. It's just you won't have unlimited. You're just getting cut down to 5 gigabytes. Which is still a lot, because if you're just
for
going,
most people,
if you're just going for a couple days or maybe a week, that's still a lot of data.
Well, most people don't burn through 5 gigs. Most people can stay under that. It just really depends on what you do with your device.
That does not affect pricing whatsoever, so that's still going to be the same price, which I think it's like an additional $25 extra per line per month. So
yeah,
it's just you won't be getting as much data for your money if you travel a lot.
Speaking about travel, there's a little Hyperloop news that we finally got this week.
Yep. Hyperloop One is now rebranded as Virgin Hyperloop One after an investment by multi-billionaire Virgin Atlantic, whatever, Richard Branson.
Yeah, so is this the same guy that does like the Virgin Mobile?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
We're on the same page.
Yep. Same guy. Nice philanthropist and motivational kind of person. I mean, he's just really well-recognized person in the world.
I mean, I'm glad he invested in it, but just the little subtext here on The Verge. Virgin Hyperloop One. Yeah, it just rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah. Yeah, it does sound kind of odd.
But again, if that's how we get it built, I'm all for it. You can call it some funny names. Other tech companies have used funnier names, so it's fine.
Yeah. So, reading more through this story, it kind of clarified some things about Hyperloop One and what Elon Musk is doing is kind of the same but separate, because Elon is not really a part of the Hyperloop One crew.
Oh,
He's
I see.
doing his kind of own thing with that boring company that... And I don't mean boring as like sleep kind of boring.
Although in some regards it's kind of like he kids about that because, I mean, the boring company.
Yeah. But anyway, that is kind of still separated. But obviously it was first popularized by Musk, who back in 2013 suggested the idea, hey, Los Angeles, San Francisco, less than 30 minutes. Doesn't that sound like a great idea, folks? Let's do this.
And then this year he was talking about the rockets that could bring you around the world in less than an hour. I mean, he just wants to, in some regards, bring the world together.
Yeah, at least make it a lot closer.
Yeah.
Wow. Still just the whole thought of being able to go almost anywhere in the world in an hour.
That would be insane. Like, wow.
Yeah, it's just... pretty crazy. But anyway, there's no idea just how much Virgin and Richard Branson invested into this because...
Well, enough to get a name change, that's for sure.
So it has to be pretty significant. And last month, so this would be September, Hyperloop One announced that it raised an additional $85 million. That's a lot of money. Which has brought its total haul to $245 million and a likely valuation of more than $700 million. So I would presume he's put in a significant amount of cash.
Yeah. Yes, I've been told that that is a significant amount of cash. I've never seen that much, but
no,
I've been told.
We know someone that has seen quite a lot of cash at one time, and you might hear him on next week's episode. We'll see. We shall see. Another battle brewing in the world is giant robots. Who doesn't want to watch giant robots fight things out and battle, not necessarily to the death, but battle till it needs repaired.
Yeah.
So, some time ago, I can't remember exactly what it was that we talked about it.
Roughly a year ago?
Yeah,
maybe
a year or so.
10 months-ish.
The United States is taking on Japan in a giant robot duel that you can watch this coming Tuesday on Twitch. So, October 17th at 7 p.m. Pacific time, you will be able to watch the stream on Twitch. Now, this is not a live stream. This is something that had to be filmed over the course of a few days because, well, whenever these robots battle it out and need to be fixed, it's not the same as football where you just wrap up a player's knee and put him back out on the field. This takes a little time to fix parts and things like that.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm looking forward to checking this out.
Yeah, if any of you have ever enjoyed BattleBots, which has recently come back, kind of, I think, and in the earlier 2000s as well. I mean, this is everything I want in life. Big robots destroying each other using chainsaws and any other methods. This is great.
So, the United States team of engineers, which they call themselves Megabots Incorporated, challenged their Japanese rivals, Tsurubashi Heavy Industry, to a fight. And they had this in some kind of an abandoned steel mill in Japan. So they traveled from the United States to Japan to do this.
The same place where all the Power Rangers would fight the big monsters.
Pretty much, yeah. And the commentary for this event was provided by Mike Goldberg from MMA and robotics expert Sara Nadiri.
He looked familiar. That makes more sense now.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they show some pictures on this article from The Verge, and these guys are, average height and stuff like that. And then the robots just stand so much taller. So we're looking probably
2.5 times taller than them.
You figure if these people are roughly 6 foot tall, these robots are at least 14, 15 feet tall. At least. That looks awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see this. Just to see how it goes. Hopefully it won't be disappointing, kind of hype kind of thing.
I think because it's not going to be a live stream that they have already worked out the kinks, and it won't be disappointing because they've already filmed it.
Right. And probably edited real nice to make it exciting and stuff like that. As exciting as two robots can move and do these things. So the duel was fought on a knockout system with no point scoring involved. Victory was attained by either knocking over or disabling your opponent, or if they surrender. And, pretty cool.
So it looks like the robots have 2 names, and yeah, you were right, about 16 feet and 13 feet tall. So the Eagle Prime, which I'm imagining is America, is the 16-foot tall one. And the...
We'll say Karatas.
Karatas is the 13-foot tall. Go figure. The Asian one is shorter.
Hey, don't be bringing that kind of stuff on this show.
What I mean is usually the shorter, faster one wins. Just saying.
That's true. Because I did watch a video, and it actually was those videos that I had shared, that one about the Metroid Prime music, or the Metroid music with
over the aliens.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there was one Mortal Kombat and Bruce Lee fighting Chuck Norris. And that was pretty good. So I Yeah, the smaller,
just saying,
faster guy won there.
Yeah, just saying.
In that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, Twitch, Tuesday, October 17th. Check it out. And I'm sure there'll be replays of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next week. Just in time. I think you'll be able to watch it before you leave.
Yep.
How about that? Moving on to our app entertainment and hardware picks of this week, I have a clarification that I need to make from last week.
What'd you do?
So I shared out the information about the Stranger Things game that was on iOS. Obviously, it's just a couple weeks away from Stranger Things Season 2, and billboards are actually popping up around the city of St. Louis.
It is.
I saw the one here on Interstate 44, not highway. But anyway, the Stranger Things game is also on Android as well, for free. So,
excellent.
Android users, download and play. It's fun.
And then I have a couple picks myself. The first one is just kind of a YouTube channel because we actually kind of watch a decent amount of YouTube.
You do.
But BuzzFeed, of all places, and make fun of them, if you would like, but...
This is fake news.
Right. They do a lot of entertaining things. They have a series called The Try Guys, and they do all kinds of different things with that. They have another one where they take like the cheapest price, a middle price, and the most expensive price of like fried chicken or pizza or suits, and they just go out and they try them and tell you. I think it's called Worth It is what it is, and that series is really good. Well, now they have one called BuzzFeed Unsolved, and they have a supernatural one, and they have like a actual like realistic one, and it's really entertaining because you have the one guy who absolutely believes ghosts exist, and you have the exact opposite of the other guy who absolutely believes that they do not exist. And it's such a great pair, and it gets so funny sometimes because they're always poking at each other. It's a fantastic series. It's right in time for Halloween. I think they're running on like season 2 now, or getting ready to start 3 potentially. So just, go check out a few videos. A few of them that I would recommend. The Queen Mary one was really good. The Voodoo New Orleans one is really good. Trying to think. The Lizzie Borden house, I believe, was a good one. I mean, there's just a couple of them. I think there's like a sanitarium one.
It's a nice variety from looking at the listing, and they range from 4 some odd minutes to like 30 minutes. So
yeah.
It's not like it's a lot of time that you need to invest to watch them.
Yeah, and again, it's just they go to these locations and they do things that normal people wouldn't do on a dark, night and full moon, and yeah, it's great.
Actually, there's one here that's like 46 minutes. 3 horrifying cases of ghosts and demons.
Yeah, that was like kind of a mini 3-parter. Yeah, that was a good one.
It sounds interesting. Like you said, it's month of Halloween, so...
Exactly. I mean...
all things are spooky.
Just to give you an idea how popular these are, there's about 27 million views, about 6.6 million subscribers, so they have a little bit of a following. And, again, it's funny. And in this day and age, we need funny things along with scary things.
Yes, we do.
The other pick I have... I literally just started playing this this week, but it's Middle-earth: Shadow of War. And obviously this is the sequel to the one that came out in 2014. I can't remember the exact name of it. It's not Shadow of War. It is... it's the other Middle-earth one. Anyway, brain fart there. What is really awesome about this is... obviously, it's on your Xbox, your PlayStation, probably PC somewhere. But if you buy it on Xbox or you buy it on the Windows Store, it is a Xbox Play Anywhere game, which is great because this is a very big game, like a AAA title, and to be able to play it on either my PC or my Xbox is a really cool thing. I wish every game... hell, I wish every medium kind of did more of this. Like, buy it once here and you can play it anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's so pro-consumer. Like, it's so great. Anyway, the game itself is everything the first one was, and then some. So I know there's a little concern on the loot boxes, but from what I've played and from what I've heard of people playing already like 30 plus hours of the game, you can play the whole game and not really touch those. So if you're one of those anti-loot boxes, they're destroying my games, it's okay. Take a deep breath.
Breathe.
Don't spend your money. Vote with your wallet.
There you go.
And it'll be fine. The game itself is fantastic. It's as brutal, and the Nemesis system is great. It still is great. It's a great game. I definitely recommend checking it out, at least renting it from like a Redbox or something and just trying it out.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. Loved it.
Yeah,
so far.
Because we know you can't just walk into a Blockbuster somewhere and rent games anymore.
Right.
You got to have a GameFly account.
Or GameFly. I don't think this will be on the Xbox. I cannot believe I forgot the name of it.
How could you forget something from Xbox?
Yeah, I know, right? The one where it's kind of our Netflix kind of esque service,
right?
But yeah. Anyway,
Xbox Pass.
Yes, the Game Pass. That's it. We got it.
Go.
Nailed it.
Jeez, it took the non-Microsoft employee to come up with it.
I'm not awake yet, kind of. Still need my coffee.
And I know you mentioned Play Anywhere. Well, now there's Movies Anywhere.
Exactly. And I've just got an email on this morning. So essentially, Disney movies have been doing this for maybe a year or two. And when you bought a Disney movie, you could essentially, play it anywhere. Now that's kind of, I don't know if it's their rebranding as so much as the place where they come from is rebranding. I don't exactly know how this works, but essentially Disney Movies is joining forces with is it 20th Century Fox, Universal, and there's a few other ones.
Right. Pixar, Marvel Studios, Lucasfilm, that's all under Disney, of course, Universal Pictures, and Warner Brothers.
And Sony Pictures. Yeah, so there's a bunch of them that are all going to be, hey, buy it once and you can watch it anywhere kind of thing.
Pretty much.
I am a little disappointed that I can't just like pull up my Microsoft account and sign into my Xbox, but there's the Amazon link, so I guess that's fine.
Right. But if you do sign up for this or create an account, whatever, it's like just a single centralized location place to have all your movies kind of get imported from the various services that you log in with. Mm-hmm. If you log in with two services, we'll just use Google and Amazon for two examples. You can get 5 free movies. Those are the original Ice Age, the Ghostbusters from 2016, Lego Movie, Jason Bourne, I presume that's the most recent one.
I think so.
And Big Hero 6. To me, 3 really good titles. I haven't seen the other 2.
So. I would say Ice Age, Lego Movie, and Big Hero 6 are the reasons you want to sign up for this.
Right.
The other 2 are just like, oh, hey, I have them. Mm-hmm. That's just me, though.
Yeah, so again, it's another one of those things that's great if you've got kids and, here's the iPad, or here's watch it on Chromecast, Roku, whatever. I think it's going to be kind of neat, and I'm looking forward to signing up and getting a hold of these. I think it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
So right now, Movies Anywhere offers a library of approximately 7,300 digital movies, including new releases like Wonder Woman, War for the Planet of the Apes, and Spider-Man Homecoming. But they're going to continue expanding that as well, obviously. And we're looking forward to hopefully other studios like Lionsgate and maybe Paramount Pictures. Maybe they'll get on board as well and have a nice wide range of movies that you can just watch.
Yeah, there's almost no reason for them not to. So,
and I mean, I think it's free. Obviously, you got to buy the movies no matter where.
Some place.
This is just kind of like a unifying central place to go.
Yeah. Again, very, very pro-consumer. We've been seeing more and more of this, and I think this, as much as executives may have said otherwise, I think this helps prevent piracy more than promote it, because you can access them at so many different locations and just buy it the one time. It makes sense for me as a consumer to just do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, obviously they need to try to compete with the Netflixes, and now Disney's coming out with their own Netflix-style service pretty soon.
Yep.
So that's just the things that they need to do to stay relevant.
Yep.
Good for them. Good for them. One last thing, obviously, this most recent Monday, during Monday Night Football, they showed off the new trailer for Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Oh my god, it looks so good.
I know.
I can't
it really
wait.
Does.
I really cannot wait.
And tickets are available if you would like to go ahead and reserve your seat for
opening night.
Yeah, which I believe is, December 17th, December 18th, something like that.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah, it's in the teens.
Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be here before we know it. Obviously, it's just about 2 months away.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to it.
Very much so.
Me, personally, I prefer to watch it just in IMAX, not really the 3D version.
I'm always indifferent. I'll watch it anywhere, but typically the people I go with are not a fan of 3D, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I just think we watched Spider-Man Homecoming in IMAX, and that was great. Great way to view it. So
also, if you're by a theater that kind of has those little more premium boxes they're a little smaller, but you get to order food and all kinds of stuff. I think here it's like the 5-star lounge for us.
AMC and
some of the AMC ones. I highly recommend doing that because some of those are 21 and up. So you don't necessarily have to sit in a theater with, a bunch of little kids if that's not your thing. I know some people have kids. That's fine.
And yeah, the seats are just so comfortable. They recline. Sometimes they're heated. And you feel like you've got space.
Waiter, I need a beer, please.
Right, just push a little button and the person comes up, takes your order.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool.
It is. Sure, it costs a little bit more, but hey, I
don't go to the movies often enough, so why not?
Certain movies, like Star Wars Last Jedi, that's something you see in theaters.
Yeah, absolutely.
You definitely see it.
Potentially multiple times.
Possibly, yeah. This one I could probably see watching twice, maybe 3.
If the story is compelling enough, yes. The only movie I've ever seen like 3 or 4 times was The Dark Knight.
For me, it was Tombstone.
Of course.
Love the film. It's hard to believe that movie is now 24 years old.
Right?
God. Getting old sucks. That's all I'm going to say. Moving on to beer pick of the week.
So being as it's fall, found another fall beer, and I think I might have a new kind of favorite IPA, and this is I believe it's pronounced Hopzite Autumn IPA.
That's what I'd go with.
And that's from Deschutes Brewing Co. Now, Deschutes is obviously over in Oregon. They are definitely up there in, high quality beer. What's really, I guess, kind of unique about this particular IPA, they use a lot of malts and barleys and stuff that you would normally find in a Marzen, which is one of my favorite beers. But then with that kind of herbal, Americanized, hoppy twist to it. So, I mean, what's not to like about this beer? It is fantastic if you like both Marzen and or IPAs. It's a kind of a twist that I have yet to see. It's 7% ABV, so it has a little bit of a kick to it. 60 IBUs. It's right in line with most, IPAs. Beyond the 60 or 70 IBUs, they kind of just are about the same. I know, there's a Dogfish Head or something like that, has 120 IBU or something like that, or 90 IBU. It doesn't really taste like it's even remotely more than 60 in my opinion. But, it's really good. I gave it a 4.5.
Okay.
At first I was going to give it like a 4.25. I had a few more sips. I'm like, nope, this is a solid choice. I highly recommend it. Looks like it might be one of their new fall series beers, so
It doesn't look like it's that old. It was added June of 2016. It's got just about 30,000 ratings and a composite score of 3.72.
Yeah, so I must have missed this last year, but I found it this year, and I definitely recommend it.
Nice. You probably won't be hearing many beer picks for me in the future, just because, well, this whole celiac, gluten-free kick that I'm on, and I gotta say, I feel so much better.
That's good. That's good.
It's just so much more relaxed and calm and less anxious. So it's good. It's a good feeling. I like it. It's like, ooh, this is how regular people live. Wow. Nice. Anyway, diet's going good. Very happy. Looking forward to that. So that pretty much does it for this episode. I'd like to again invite everybody listening to join us in the Facebook community Tech Informist community on Facebook. And I'll have a link in the show notes to go directly there, or you just go to techinformist.com.
I'm trying to make it a point to swing by there more often. I have in the past couple of weeks, so I just don't have notifications set up for Facebook because there's too many and they would drive me insane.
Yeah.
So I just kind of, and I actually use the groups more on Facebook than I do just talking to actual people I know.
Oh, I do too.
So yeah, definitely swing by the group. I'll definitely be more active in the group per se versus normal out in the wild Facebook. I'm also part of a couple of the IGN ones just because, well, IGN, they're a fun group to talk to.
Yeah. You can let us know what you'd like to hear more of or less of in that group as well. Or things you would like us to consider trying different segments
in the show. And yeah, absolutely.
We're always open to feedback. I know we've said it before, but yeah. It's kind of the thing.
Yep.
And also, I will be sharing a link sometime Monday afternoon, evening, that I'm going to be on a radio station here in St. Louis, representing Tech Informist.
Sweet.
Doing a tech segment at 4 p.m. Central Time. I don't know if it's going to be a long-term thing or if this is just a one-time audition.
Yeah, I guess we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Find out
how it's going to go. But yeah, talked with radio host Frank Opinion, who's been in the industry for 30 plus years. He's been around and has done very well for himself in the radio industry in St. Louis.
Yes, he has.
So it's kind of a nice, large audience to
get the name
introduce the Tech Informist to and open up some other opportunities for us. So again, this has been Kevin and Brad, and you can always find us on Twitter or online. Just hit us up.
Absolutely.
We're always out there. And until then, consider yourself informed. We're out.
Ta-ta for now.